You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Hi, welcome to That's Tasty. I'm Claudia Donnell and you are in my kitchen right now. Now usually when we do one of these, I make for you a meal. Well, today I'm not going to make a meal. Today I'm going to make a dessert. This is my take on raspberry tiramisu. Now it's June, summer is finally here, and there's all kinds of parties going on. We got 4th of July coming on, graduation parties, weddings, celebrations of any kind. And sometimes your host or hostess will say to you, hey, can you bring dessert? I've got the dessert for you. So, raspberry tiramisu, we're going to start. This is the first layer, and I've already begun it. These are ladyfingers, which is this is a ladyfinger. It's a very light cookie, very porous, and it really doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. So I break them into quarters. This, I had to put marks on it because I can't see, is Malibu coconut rum. Oh, I love it. So then you just do one of these. You're going to soak it, saturate it. That's a cup, and there's already a cup in here. So what I used was, we have 36 ladyfingers. There's 18 in here, and there's 18 in here. So I'm doing this first so that the ladyfingers can absorb all that delicious Malibu rum. So here we go. That's just going to set it aside for a minute. Over here I have 2 cups of mascarpone cheese. Now what mascarpone cheese is, it's an Italian take on cream cheese. It's much lighter. It has a very delicate flavor, and I do use it for a lot of sweet things, and I use it for savory items as well. It's just a lovely, nice texture and flavor. And, well, you know, if it's Italian, it has to be good because, you know, we have a symbiotic relationship. So here it is. It's room temperature so that we can mix the whipped cream in when we're ready to rock and roll, which we are right now. So the last thing I want to do is take out the heavy cream. Heavy cream is what I use, and you want to keep it as cold as possible. So you don't want it room temperature, especially in the summertime when the temperature is a little warmer than normal. So we have a pint of whipping cream, heavy cream, pardon me, which has more body and more richness than regular whipping cream. I always use heavy cream because sometimes when you whip cream, it breaks down after a while. You know what I mean, gets kind of watery, and then it just isn't pleasant. So up we go. I'm going to start slow, and you see I have the shield on because I make a mess everywhere. So this is 1/4 of a cup of sugar. Regular sugar. You could probably use powdered sugar if you want. If you do, I would sift it first because you know how it has a tendency to be a little bit lumpy, and you don't want it lumpy. So we have 1/4 of a cup of sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla. I use the cover to measure it. And if it goes over, I don't care because I happen to like the flavor of vanilla. So we're going to let that whip up for a little while. We also have some mint. Now, I love the flavor of fresh mint. It's so delicious to me. So we're just going to take some off, and I'm going to show you how to chop it. I know I've shown before, but I'm going to show you again because you can never have enough experience in doing certain things. The more you use good knife skills, the better you're going to be. So let's reinforce that. When I teach cooking, I always make sure that we emphasize safe and good knife skills. And one of the first things I always tell my students is, if you're going to make an investment on knives, make sure you buy a steel to go with it, so that you can keep these little buggers nice and sharp. I think I'll put in a little bit more. This is going to be in the layers, and I'm also going to put a little bit for garnish. And then if I don't use it all, it'll already be cut so that my husband can make me a mojito. Because actually what I'm making for you right now is a mojito dessert in a sense, because it's mint and rum. So I'm just going to give these a nice chop. You're going to start off nice and slow. Just give it a rough chop. And then we do this. This will keep everything nice and uniform in size, which you want, because this is just going to be a hint. You're going to give a little bit of a hint in a bite of the tiramisu of mint, and the people are going to say, ooh, what was that? That was delicious. And what it was a little bit of the mint. So it's just a sprinkling. I always like to do something that's going to surprise the people who eat my food. Good to the last drop. So you don't want to waste anything if you can avoid it. So now I'm going to put this up a little bit more and talk a little bit louder. But here we have the mint. Delicious, nice mint. One of my favorite herbs. And I do use it for savory cooking as well. You know, the Lebanese background I have, we, especially in the summertime, make stuffed squash, which we call kusa, the stuffed grape leaves, which we call waradaish, and then obviously, not obviously, but also kibbeh. And they all use a little bit of mint. Delicious, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So, eyes now on the whipped cream. And while that's coming up to speed, you want a nice, firm whipped cream. You don't want it to turn into butter, but you do want a nice, firm whipped cream because it's going to hold together with the mascarpone as we move along. So, we're getting there. I'm just going to get some raspberries. I use frozen raspberries more so than the fresh ones because the flavor is great, but I find with the fresh raspberries, they're so delicate that by the time I get them, this is quality control, ladies and gentlemen. See, this is what you want for deliciousness. Quality control. Raspberries, red raspberries. I buy them frozen. If you can find black raspberries, go for that as well. But this is what, you know what? I'm not going to fight with the Ziploc because I'm going to use the whole thing. Anyway, when stuff is frozen, it's frozen at its peak. And look at it. Doesn't that look like a raspberry? It's delicious. So that's why you use the frozen. It's delicate. They're frozen individually, so you don't have a big clump of it. And they're fresher. As I was starting to say, produce in the produce department, I always get there too late to get fresh raspberries. They break down very easily. That's why I go to my trusty frozen, because they don't break down. All right. We've got our whipped cream. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add some of the whipped cream to the mascarpone. And we're going to mix it up to make it loose. We're going to get the mascarpone nice and loose. Once we get it to the good, nice, soft consistency, then I'm going to fold in the rest of the whipped cream. Now, I have, again, 2 cups of mascarpone, 1 pint of whipped cream, heavy cream. So I'm going to put it in now. Do you ever watch the professionals cook on the television, Food Network? There's a lot of them. And they don't scrape the whole bowl. Gets me crazy. I like to scrape the whole bowl. See this here? That's going to get incorporated as well, because to me, if you don't, you're wasting things. And whipped cream, I don't want to waste. Good stuff. So, we have nice, folded in, delicious mascarpone cream and heavy whipped cream. We have our first layer of the lady fingers. And we're going to put in a generous amount of this. And notice the emphasis on the word generous. Because take a look, we have a lot. And you want to put it in a bowl where people are actually going to be able to see the layers, because it's really very pretty. There we go. That should do it. And I'll show you when we're done how pretty it looks. Nice and even. Plunk. Okay, so pardon me for 1 minute while I just take care of that. So we have some of our raspberries. And we're going to sprinkle them around, preferably in the bowl, not on the floor, not on the counter. Oh, missed it! Where's the dog? Okay, a little bit of mint. Okay, remember, you distribute things from on high, nice and even. A little bit more, and here is the best part. I mean, really, whipped cream, mascarpone cheese, mint, raspberries, and mini chocolate chips. What the mini chocolate chips do is they add a little texture to an otherwise rather soft dessert, and it gives you that little bit of a surprise. When people see raspberries together and chocolate, they say, So here's the second layer, the one that we just put the mascarpone in. It's nice and moist. And I like to kind of press it down to kind of give it a little bit of more body when you remove it. It's not quite so loose. Everything seeps in nicely together. All right, and we repeat the process. Typically, when I make this, I make it the day before it's going to be eaten, because it sets up really beautifully. But today, I'm really not going to do that, because I want some now. So I'm not going to wait. But it's an easy thing to make, and it is a crowd pleaser. I made some the other day for a client of ours, and the food they said was good, but the dessert was amazing. Okay, I'll take good food and amazing dessert any day. Okay, a little bit of mint. And there's no particular order on how you do the layers. So I did the mint, doing the raspberry, and we're done with that. Not to forget these. Delicious. Now, let's set this for a little bit to defrost a little bit. Put them back in, because I'm going to eat them anyway. Okay, so I've made a mess. You should see my floor. I'm not going to pick the stuff up off the floor, but I am going to pick it up off the counter. Now, let's make it pretty. Clean it up. This is some, all right, take a look. This is how it looks, and this is how it looks. So if you have a bowl that's clear, could be colored, but clear, so that people can actually see the different layers in there. Remember, people eat with their eyes before they eat with anything else. So if you make it look delicious, they're going to try it. I want to show you how I finalize. I'm just going to go over here and get a plate. How I plate it. I take an ice cream scoop. Ice cream scoops are your best friends for many reasons. You make cookies with them, you make cupcakes with them, you make even amounts of dessert with them. Just scoop it in, put it on, sprinkle a little bit more mint, and there you go. That, ladies and gentlemen, is raspberry tiramisu. I'm going to taste it. We're taping this in the morning, ladies and gentlemen. So if I get tipsy on this spoonful, I'm sorry. I did have coffee, and in gleeful anticipation of this. Say it with me. That's tasty. And you know what I liked about it? The raspberries weren't 100% defrosted, so I got a little bit of a punch in that as well. So, raspberry tiramisu, good for any time, any celebration, but keep in mind, because we're using rum, in my case Malibu rum, it's not for children. So remember that. If you don't like the taste of coconut, use regular rum. That's okay. If you want to make this with strawberries, make it with strawberries. Make it with blueberries. I happen to like it with the chocolate and the raspberry and the mint. Now, I want to tell you, we're starting to put all of these episodes on YouTube. And if you type in, That's Tasty Cooking with Claudia on YouTube, you should be able to get it. I'm not quite sure of the channel, but I know it's Cooking with Claudia, and I know That's Tasty is also involved in it. So we will post the exact YouTube address on this film so that you'll be able to enjoy this again. Or if you don't get a recipe while you're watching the episode, just go on YouTube and it will be there as well. Also, keep in mind, anytime you want a new recipe, you want another recipe, you have a question, you have a comment, I'm happy to talk to you and respond to you at Claudia at thatstasty.net. That's how you can get in touch with me. Another thing that I'm toying around with the idea is a ganache. You know what a ganache is? In this case, it's a sauce that I would make out of chocolate, good, tasty, high-quality chocolate. And you would put it in a bowl, and you would heat up some of the, some cream, heavy cream. You'd heat it up so it's nice and hot. Not boiling. You don't want that to boil. It'll scorch, and then everything will be ruined. You take your heated cream and you pour it over the bowl of chocolate that you have chopped up, or chocolate chips, and you let it sit for about a minute or so. Stir it up so that it's all nicely mixed, and then you can take some and also drizzle that on top. If I was thinking, I would have bought more cream so that I could actually show you how to do that. But that would make a really wonderful presentation if you just drizzled it with a, I'll show you, one of these. You see them use it a lot. We used to put our ketchup and mustard in it. Now I put olive oil, I put ganache in it, I put all kinds of things in it. It gives you an opportunity to dress something up and make it easy for you, because that's what it's all about. You want something delicious, but you want something that's really simple. This was really simple. So, summertime, we have a perfect opportunity right now to get everything that's fresh. I made a fruit salad the other day with the vegetables from the the fruit from the supermarket. Sweet, sweet, delicious, and wonderful. And this is a perfect time for you to start growing your own things. And I think one of the things you should grow is some of our herbs. Mint, basil, thyme, tarragon. There's a whole host of them. I have lavender growing, oregano. Fresh herbs give such a wonderful flavor to whatever it is that you're cooking. And now's the perfect time for you to try different things for your palate. You may or may not like it. Parsley, I like parsley. But you got to be careful. Flat leaf parsley looks very much like an herb called cilantro, which is a real polarizing herb. You either love it or you don't. I'm one of the don'ts. So instead of cilantro in something, I might substitute flat leaf parsley, because they're sort of from the same family, but the flat leaf parsley, in my opinion, has a much more delicate flavor than the cilantro. Basil. There's nothing simpler than a tomato salad. Fresh tomatoes from your garden or your local grocer, cut it up into bite-sized pieces, rip up some leaves of basil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, olive oil, splash of red wine vinegar, mix it up, and you have a wonderful, delicious, easy, simple tomato salad, which goes with just about everything. As a matter of fact, you can make a sandwich out of it, which when my mother was a little young girl, she used to do. Nice fresh bread that my nonna used to make, and she'd squash a fresh tomato, throw some salt and pepper on it, a little olive oil, and some basil leaves. It just made my mouth water. I don't know, but we have the raspberry tiramisu. So give it a try. Plant some herbs. You can plant them right in the ground, or you can plant them in a pot. I would suggest, if you are growing mint, you might want to keep that in a container, because it takes off like a weed, except for in my garden. For some reason, it's not creeping the way I wanted to, but that's okay. We have, in the Lebanese culture, I had started to mention to you, we have a lot of use for the mint. And when we make the steamed grape leaves and kusa, we put the whole stem right over the layers of the squash or the grape leaves, and as it steams, the flavor of the mint permeates, but it doesn't get into the food like this is, because you keep it on the stem. So we have raspberry tiramisu. Make it for the next party that you were asked to make dessert. And if you're not asked to bring dessert, offer to bring dessert. Use this recipe. You will be the hit of the party. I promise. But remember, it's for adults only. So for today, we're done. Enjoy the rest of the summer. I will be back. Have some raspberry tiramisu. Your life will be happy. Give it a try. So for Claudia Donnell, I'm signing off. This is That's Tasty. Happy cooking. Happy eating. Ciao.